Good morning from Foster and Marshall podcast, where we welcome you and we question everything and we ask why. And my goodness, there's a lot of questions to be answered. Foster and I have noticed for many years the way these chemtrails are going across the sky. You'll get a beautiful blue, and then these chemtrails will come across, well, the planes will come across, distribute crop spray, and then you watch them widening across. And then there'll be another one and another one until they're crisscrossing across the blue and covering the sun, which is absolutely 100% good for us. The sun gives us this beautiful, wonderful energy. Everybody should notice when the sun comes out, they're happier, more relaxed. These are the things you first notice. And you just have more energy. You've been energized basically from the sun. But the minerals and the goodness that goes into our bodies at a cellular level is absolutely wonderful and, in my opinion, divinely sent. There's nobody orchestrating that, only the divine, as far as I'm concerned. So, yes, so what happens is the sun gets covered and you just get this grey. And of course, this stops all wonderful minerals and vitamins D and magnesium going into our cells, and we get lowered and lowered, especially through the winter in the northern hemisphere. You'll notice it more where we just get lowered in spirit. So and I, being as we come from health and wellness, have noticed this for a very, very long time. And people will come to us and they're depressed. And I believe they even have light boxes now, which might be great, might help. But there is nothing like the sun's energy, is there, Foster?
No, there isn't, because as Marshall has quite rightly pointed out, as the sun hits our skin, it creates this chemical reaction within us, feeding us with those vital vitamins and minerals. But it also activates the pineal gland. And when you're dealing with working with the energy systems within the body, which is the chakra system, the pineal gland is actually linked with the third eye, or the brow chakra, and it's being kind of, if you like, calcified because of this covering of the sun with all of these unnecessary clouds. I mean, we're not saying that there wouldn't be clouds on a cloudy day. You know, there has to be rain. That's what, feeds all living life on the planet. But it's where it's being engineered, where it's actually being created. This is the issue, because they don't have a way of actually monitoring the full effects of what they're doing. And I noticed something just recently, which has been posted on Redacted. It's a 4-hour long podcast. But, this is aluminum of one of the things that are being put into this feeding of the clouds. And it's literally showing up in the soil. So if you think about it, they're actually poisoning our water source at source, because this is where water is manufactured, in the clouds. We have heavy rain. You can actually now see it on your cars in the form of real thick dust. And we're actually breathing this in as well. I've actually been out walking with my husband on the moors, and you can actually see there's like a flickering in the fog, and we, during the summer last year, had days of thick fog in July, which is so unusual. It's just not something that in my childhood I was used to. You'd expect to have fog in the autumn months, but not in the summer months. And we're actually right in the clouds where I live. And I'm now noticing that there's a lot more people that are getting breathless. They're suffering from breathing difficulties in this location. And I'm sure this is right across the globe. I don't think that it's just the British Isles. I think it's right across the globe wherever this is taking place. But it's a slow poisoning of everything because plants are taking it in, animals are taking it in, we're taking it in. But nobody knows the long-term consequences of applying these chemicals within the clouds. And that's what we want to delve into. And we're making you aware of that. But it's the covering of the sun as well, which is another vital aspect of what we see. And as Marshall has pointed out in previous podcasts, that the minute we have the summer, they start going on about how hot it is and, oh my goodness, you've got to stay out of the sun, you mustn't go in the sun, and, apply factor 50. Well, I'm going to pass that over to Marshall because these 50 factor creams are loaded with so many chemicals that aren't necessarily good for you. And both Marshall and myself are both very aware of how the skin operates because we come from that industry. We come from where we're both aromatherapists, we're both beauticians, and we've both gone through intensive training. I remember on my course training as a beautician, we'd have all day where we'd be learning how to apply all these wonderful creams. The last hour was with a scientist, and then he'd tell us that everything that we were applying to our skin was really bad for us and that we needed to only use natural oils rather than too many complicated manufactured creams. And actually, that's another subject on another day. But I'm now going to hand you back over to Marshall.
Yeah, thank you, Foster. Now, but oh, it's just so awful. But let's just say with the sun creams, but I mean, it's in everything really, but especially in the sun creams, there's hormone disruptors for a start. And the other thing that I do want to mention, well, before I mention it, I just want to say, because we are coming up to the spring and summer, and we all know what goes on we're being told by media, the radio, as Foster has said, about applying sun creams. But they cause cancer. They actually do cause cancer. Research has shown that children are actually getting leukemia. And the other thing I do want to say is, if you have a shower in the morning, you're opening your pores up. And when you apply anything on your skin, it's going to absorb and go straight into your lymphatic system and eventually end up in your cells. So just please be aware and start looking on the back of the packaging. And please do your own research. I'm sure Foster agrees on this. I know she does. So we're both very, very passionate about this. Do your own research. And my goodness, we know what it's like. Everyday life stresses that happen to us, and it can take us off what is really going on around us. And sometimes, sadly, it takes a loss or, some sort of catastrophe where you get alerted to something and what is really going on around you. And please just be aware of that. And there are some wonderful organic products and products that don't cost a lot of money that you can use and replace these terrible chemically ridden products, because as Foster and I have said, um, it's on all levels. And the more you look into it, you know, we've got the water, the sky, the earth is being affected, and it's from all areas of our life. And if you can, please, please buy a really good water filter. Please don't use plastic jugs in the supermarket. There are some wonderful stainless steel filters, big water filters. And maybe on the next program, we can show you what they look like. You just have them on the side in your kitchen, and all you do is just fill it up and it just filters it all through and takes out 100% everything, the PFAS chemicals as well. So over to you, Foster.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, I had been one of those people that had always had my plastic filter thinking that I was doing something. And yes, they do something. So it is a definite beginning. But even when you weigh up the pros and the cons of the cost of the cartridges, and how long they last and the limited amount that you can filter through in them, you are I would really, really advise you to buy one of the bigger stainless steel ones, which Marshall has quite rightly pointed out, because I did that pre-Christmas and the difference it has made. I have plenty of water on tap. I cook with it now. I have, even my dog drinks it. Um, we now just don't have water directly out of our tap that hasn't been filtered properly, especially given what we have learned since. Both Marshall and I have been absolutely shocked to the core with what we
Yeah.
have seen within the various programs that have been highlighted
Oh,
in the beginning of this year. We'll
it's
say it again.
devastating.
You had dirty business. That's all been kind of brushed under the carpet, and neither of us want that to happen. We both know that that can no longer happen. We have the Panorama program where she talks about all of these chemicals in depth. And even the presenter herself was quite tearful at the findings, especially when she had had a blood test to find out just how many chemicals there were in her own blood. And yes, there are ways of cleansing your body, but it's going to take time. It's almost like we've got to filter ourselves now from what is being, pumped either on us,
Absolutely,
into
Foster.
us.
Yeah.
It's like there's no escape, is there, Marshall? It's just,
No, no.
it's shocking.
We're gonna make an escape, because we wanna wake millions and billions of people up around the world to it. And in fact, people are becoming aware, thank goodness, which is really, well, it makes us feel better, doesn't it, Foster?
It
And on
certainly does.
Yeah, and on another point about the plastic jugs, it's just plastic again. So these are stainless steel water filters. I think wherever you can. Oh, and the other thing I would like to say is about sprays in your home. I just want to, we are going to talk more in depth. I just wanted to say that. Be careful about what you're spraying around your home, because you are breathing it in. Your children are breathing it in, and your animals that you have, your dogs or your cats, they're all taking this in. And these chemicals do cause cancer. They've been researched, and it's what we call the good scientists who have our backs, our humanity. And quite clearly, as Foster pointed out before, I'm very sad to say that our government does not have our backs. Wouldn't you agree, Foster?
I would definitely agree. I think we now actually all first of all, if anyone is doubting what we're saying, it's there to be looked up. We're not saying that anything that hasn't already been publicised, and it's ever so simple. Go out on a clear sunny morning, look up, watch the aircraft. Some of those aircrafts are normal. It does exactly what it should do. They jettison out the steam from the back, and then it evaporates. But then there's the one, the big, huge, miles and mile long chemtrail, and then they start crisscrossing the sky. You will actually have to get up early to see it, because they like to do it before the general population have woken up and put their heads up up and can look up. But that's it. Look up, see for yourself, question everything. We are. I must admit, we are questioning everything more now than we ever have done. And our governments are not protecting us in any shape or form. Not one of them. All they are is just a coloured group of units. And I'd like to
I
highlight
like that,
units,
Foster. I love that.
because they're not actually even representing or standing on the manifestos that they said they would. They're
Yeah.
lying to us. The four main parties have lied to us over generations. It's corruption. They've got all of these so-called environmentalist ministers, and they're not there. They're not doing their job. I haven't seen anything that says to me, okay, somebody's working on it. And it's actually been more so since the programme Dirty Business that I'm now like, where are the MPs? Where is everyone in Parliament? I watch that. I watch it so you don't have to. So it's like a pantomime. Punch and
Well,
Judy make more sense.
well, actually, Foster, I couldn't agree more. And when you hear the noises that they make, well, talk about a herd of sheep. And
Well,
about, oh, and absolutely. And we even question each other,
yeah,
don't we, Foster?
yep, we do, Marshall, and we do, and we have really strong debates about it. And that's the other thing. It's about critical thinking. It's about looking objectively at things and being open-minded. Don't be closed. Listen, look and listen.
I love that, Foster. Absolutely. And on a lovely bright note, I've looked out the window and it's already put a smile on my face, if you've noticed, because the sun is actually shining. So
Yeah,
immediately I felt the effects of the sunshine.
absolutely.
Um, and also rainbows come to that. I mean, if you see a rainbow, it's beautiful. And that's nature. Call it what you like, the force, the field, the divine, nature. It's absolutely beautiful, natural world. And that's what we
Absolutely.
want.
And absolutely. And on that spiritual note, if we can look up and see a rainbow in the sky because the sun is reflecting the water in the clouds, that's what it's doing with us too, because that's in our auric field. And you can always tell when you're looking at somebody and their auric field as to how well they are. That's all
Absolutely.
for
Yeah.
another podcast on our health and wellness podcast that we will be doing at a later date.
Absolutely, Foster. Yeah. And also, just to remind everyone, we're 75 to 80% water. And this, we're all part of it. Yes, and the ocean plays a big part in this. So we're going to talk about that a lot more as well. The ocean. We've got some wonderful things coming up on it all. And So, yeah, and a big thank you to everyone. We appreciate you all, we really do, for liking and subscribing. And, we've only just begun. It's like a song, isn't it? We've only
It
just
is.
begun.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So, just bear with us because, yeah, there's loads more coming up and it's all very exciting. And there is good, wonderful, positive things. But these are the facts, and you can research, as Foster has said. You can do your own research.
Yeah.
And actually, we highly recommend you do, because then you're going to see for yourself. And I'm going to say it again because obviously I'm a fan, Foster, but Danny Dyer, what
Yeah.
a great job he did actually getting the help me out here, Foster, but I can't remember what he called it. Not a water filter, it's a water tester, we'll call it.
It is a water test.
And he went in the ocean. I I want to say he didn't go swimming in the ocean, but he
No,
went
he
up to
didn't.
his calves to get the seawater, and and he sent it off. And my goodness, the acceptable 500, whatever it is that they call it, became 2,000 above because of all the sewage in the water. We've all got to, all of us, especially with coming up to beach weather now, just be very careful and maybe do your own water tests and check for yourselves. Get out there, get your children involved, test the water, or maybe not your children, because if it is, just be careful, because on a serious note, and it is, oh my goodness me, it is, because people are dying from ingesting E. coli and all the other bacteria that are all sewage. It really is pretty horrific, isn't it, Foster?
It is, Marshall, and I think what we will do at a later date is to talk more about the effects of E. coli. You've got hepatitis A, B, C, D. There's actually quite a few hepatitis, and blood is still active for 24 hours. So it takes a while before it actually dies in the atmosphere. So all I'm going to do is point you towards looking at Dirty Business, because you're going to see things on that program that are going to shock you. It
Yeah.
certainly did us. And yes, I think the other thing that program really shocked me about was the family
Mm.
had gone onto a beach that had a flag that said it was clean, and that in itself was totally and utterly misleading. The beach was not safe. Their daughter
No
died
way.
as a result of E. coli. She wasn't treated properly or quickly enough. In my humble opinion, that's my opinion, with antibiotics. For a little child, she should have been given antibiotics immediately. But I think, lessons hopefully have been learned. We hear this a lot, that saying,
Mm.
lessons have been learned. Well, let's see
Uh,
some results from those lessons, because
we'll put a
I'm not seeing
question
it at the
mark on
moment.
that. Mm.
Yeah, there's some big question marks, and you've got surfers for clean water. You'll see it on Facebook, on some of the other platforms, and they've been really highlighting the effect of sewages on
Yeah.
our beach and pollution.
And a big
So,
thank you to the two men who did the research, because they worked so hard. They didn't just, they really worked hard, and they went through a lot of emotions, and it is emotional and it is a big responsibility, especially if you're going to be a whistleblower. And I have
yeah,
been one,
absolutely.
because I was at a hospital that I was in. And I know that it is a big responsibility when you're going to speak out. You have to take a lot on board,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
get your facts
So,
right.
yeah. we really do need to, give Ashley and Peter credit where it was due, because that was one hell of a investigation that took them over years, and just diligently looking at
Yeah.
different patterns working together from their, experiences from their previous work.
Yeah. And of course, one of them was a fisherman. I don't know if they both were. Um, and so they noticed the river and what was going into it being pumped into the river. Yeah.
The
And actually,
change.
it was actually
Pretty
all
foul.
sorts coming out in the water, wasn't it,
There
Foster?
was. It was pretty disgusting.
Yeah. So yeah, and of course they videoed it all. They went to the river and videoed it all, and they took it to them, to the water company. But yeah, I won't hold out much hope on that one because
No. And Environment Agency, what a joke. What a joke. Being paid huge amounts of money, and they
absolutely,
couldn't care less about the environment.
it's the money, isn't it?
It is.
Basically,
It's just literally a gravy train. It's a gravy train, and if you ever
I like that.
if you haven't sat and watched that program, you'll absolutely understand what we're talking about today.
And one another thing, Foster. Do you remember how the men, the investigators, there were two men that were sent to the water company to investigate, and they pressed the buzzer. Do you remember? They pressed
Yeah,
the
it was
buzzer.
actually Ashley and Peter. They went there and
I
they kept and sat outside for about 4 hours before they actually let them in. Even though they'd actually got a timed appointment, they wouldn't let them in, and they were hoping
it's
they'd go away,
that's
but they
right.
didn't.
And then they sent a young girl out who talked. She didn't really apologize. And she was so matter of fact. The whole thing was surreal. And then when they did get in there, there was a pile of books, so-called reports, that were snatched away from them. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So it was clear that there was no records kept. They were hiding evidence that they didn't have, really. They couldn't say that they were doing the job that they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And on that note,
Negligence.
like, subscribe, and Foster and Marshall. Well, as I say, we're just getting started, so there'll be lots more from us. And we really look forward to all your comments. Good or bad, we'll take it. So it's goodbye from me, Marshall.
And just before I go, what I would like to know is how many people have actually watched that program. Please pop that comment in the, yeah, please give us a comment
Oh,
as to whether you've seen it and whether it's changed your attitude towards how you feel about the Environment Agency, your government. Have you taken action to write to your MP? So over and out from Foster.
bye.
Bye for now.